Hello again, my friends. Happy to see you all. We have got a spicy topic today that we're going to talk about. Now, listen, before we get into this, I am not the kind of person to sit here and bask in someone else's misery. People have hard lives. It's a really tough time out there. But every once in a while, you look at something and say, yeah, I kind of saw that coming. So today, what we're going to talk about is a few internet posts that have popped up since the election. And they are things like, my wife served me divorce papers after I voted for Donald Trump, or, oh my God, my girlfriend is breaking up with me and all I did was vote for Donald Trump, and my family won't speak to me anymore. They won't invite me to Thanksgiving, and all I did was vote for Donald Trump. Look, like I said, I am not the kind of person to celebrate other people's misery, going through a hard time, all those things. Look, I've been through all those things. I've had those things all happen, and I do not want to sit here and take pride in those things. But what we are in now is what's called the find out stage, right? You fuck around, then you find out. We all know that's just a generic saying on the internet at this point. One of the ones that came up that I saw posted was a guy saying that his wife had served him with divorce papers, and she wanted him to buy him out of their $300,000 house because he voted for Donald Trump, and he was just shocked. He could not believe that divorce papers could even be served that fast. It was crazy. And he said a very interesting thing in that post. A thing that he said in that post was, I cannot believe she is doing this to me over politics. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not what is going on. She is not doing this to you over politics. As a matter of fact, I'd even go out on a limb and say she is not doing anything to you at all. But this isn't happening over politics. This is happening over policy. You understand? We got to look back. There was a time not that long ago where Trump appointed judges that overturned Roe versus Wade. Now, I know that's a hot button topic because there's a lot of false information about abortions going on out there. You know, the evil Democrats are out there killing babies after they're born. You know, they're 6 months old and they're still having abortions over there. You know, this stuff that doesn't happen that people lie about and say it does happen. And that's the basis people use for why abortion is bad. I have resigned to the fact that I don't know everything about abortion, and what I really need to understand about it is that since I am not all knowledgeable on everything that goes on in the world, maybe there's topics where I need to shut the fuck up and sit them out, right? I do not know why a doctor or a woman would look to an abortion as medically necessary. I mean, I understand the circumstances that may lead up to it. Maybe the woman miscarried, or something to that effect. I am actually demonstrating my point right now. I am not qualified enough to make a decision for a doctor or for a woman. I guess there's a lot of men out there that aren't willing to say that, right? So, what is actually happening it has to do with politics, but more to do with policy. When you look to the women in your life and you say, you know what, I'm smarter than you. I know more than you about you than you will ever know. I understand everything that goes on with a woman's body, and you, ma'am, should sit down and shut up while the men figure this out. You are asking for her to serve you divorce papers. See, that's the weird thing about women. I guess it's not that weird to me, but they have a much stronger grasp on understanding what is going on with their own bodies. They consult medical professionals that understand what is going on also. See, what a lot of people don't understand about this whole abortion debate, I really don't believe there are people out there, I said this in a recent video, but there are people out there saying, you know, I just really want to kill babies. That's not a thing that's happening. A lot of times it's medically necessary. Look, I don't want to get into like the other gross stuff of this. I agree that there should be those exemptions in place. Look, it's just, I don't really want to talk about it, okay? It's a thing. It's an unfortunate thing. Sorry, I kind of distracted myself there a little bit, trying to figure out how to beat around the bush a little bit, I guess. Sometimes you got to do that, I guess. But look, this is the harsh reality of things. I guess it's not that harsh of a reality. If you can't listen to the women around you, if you can't trust them to make decisions, if you don't think they're smart enough to understand why these things may be necessary to their own survival in the event they needed medical attention to help them, the fact of the matter is you don't deserve that woman in your life. And look, somebody's got to say the mean things around here sometimes, and that's just the way it works. You don't deserve her in your life. She needs to divorce you, and she needs to go find a man or a woman or whoever she wants to be with. Somebody, though, that listens to what she's saying. Someone that values her opinion. Get it? This isn't that hard, right? So when you voted for Donald Trump, you did vote against your wife. You did vote against your daughters. You voted against your mother. You voted against women because you thought they weren't smart enough to make their own decisions. This isn't that hard to figure out. It really, really isn't. My wife has been to the doctors many, many times. She has always made those decisions. And it's never really, honestly, really been my business. If she wants to tell me about it, she can tell me about it. But that's the part where I shut up and I listen. I don't tell her that I know better than she does. That would be absolutely absurd. And I do struggle with this. I do struggle with this. I do believe that in America, your vote is your own, and you should vote how you think is best. However, you do have to deal with the consequences of those actions. And I do have trouble wondering how men with daughters are able to look their daughter in the eye and say, look, I voted against your future today. How do you explain to your daughter that you want her to have less rights? And this is medical rights. That's all it is. It's medical rights. You do not see anybody out there making any sort of argument for or against male birth control or vasectomies or anything like that. They're leaving us the fuck alone. They are not bothering us with this at all. And does that strike anybody else as weird? I don't think we'd like it either, guys. If somebody was saying medically necessary or government mandated vasectomies, right? I don't know why they would do that. They would do the opposite of that, I guess. But let's say they outlaw. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's say next time around, next election cycle, one of the policy issues is they want to make it illegal to have a vasectomy. Now, there's a point where you just got to stop having kids, right? They get real expensive. You had enough, but you still want to have some fun. You want to enjoy some adult fun, right? But if if the next presidential candidate said, we will, after this, we are outlawing vasectomies, everybody will have babies, and that's just the way it goes, and if you don't do it, you're a murderer. You're a murderer. I think we, as men, would all vote against that. We would say, no, we're not having vasectomies because our precious ball sack, right? Well, we don't want that getting sliced up and all that stuff, and we'd be out there raising hell saying, you can't tell me what to do with my own body. So next time you're wondering why you got served divorce papers or why your girlfriend is breaking up with you, it's because you did to her what you would never accept being done to you. You don't get it? You don't fucking get it? I'm not sure how else to explain it. It's absolutely absurd to me that we're confused by this. Fellas, we have to listen to the women in our lives. I was going to say this is a weird thing about women, but it's not really that fucking weird. If you just listen to them, they'll tell you what they're thinking. Crazy, right? Yeah, I know. There's been memes and comics and all these things for years and years and years about how women are just so impossible to understand. We just don't know what they're on about. Just none of it makes sense. And I've learned in my long life here that every once in a while it's better for me to shut up and listen. And a lot of people just aren't doing that. As far as, getting broke up with, I mean, that's tragic, that sucks and everything, but hey, part of the dating process is finding out if you're compatible with the other person, right? And politics are a wedge issue. They absolutely are. And you're seeing this divide amongst people now, where the men are going over here and listening to Andrew Tate tell them how cool they are, and the women are like, well, this is kind of gross, I'm gonna go over there and not listen to all this. And I've even heard men on the internet, my friends, saying weird shit. Like, if you really think about it, if you really think about it, isn't having sex with a woman kind of gay? Because you could be hanging out with your bros instead, but you're not. And you could be. And does that sound insane to anyone else, or is this just me? As far as families not talking to each other and things like that, I used to be against that. I honestly think now this is the political climate for that. If you are voting against your loved ones, I mean, look, you're speaking volumes with your vote. You really are. You're saying, I don't give a shit about how you feel. I don't give a shit about your needs. If you're ever in a medical emergency involving an unborn baby in the future, I don't give a shit if you die. What I want my egg prices to be lower. And if that is at the cost of your life, then I guess I just don't really care. I guess I just don't really care about that. And look, that's kind of the path people have chose at this point. I mean, what do you want from me? I don't know what to say. And it's just gotten to that point. That's where it is. Now, it used to be, my friends, that the different parties were just basically policy differences that were kind of minor. It's balancing the budget against higher minimum wage. Those were the issues, and we couldn't agree on that. Those are not issues that would really drive a wedge in your family. They're not. I mean, it's inconvenient if you don't get your way, of course it is, right? But right now in this current political climate, for Donald Trump, you are actively voting against the women in your life. I don't know what else to tell you on that. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm actually happy to see it, if I'm being honest with you. I think that it's a necessary thing. Women will stand up and fight for their power, draw the line in the sand, so to speak. And hey, you can keep doing your bro thing, and that would be cool too. So I guess I don't really have much more on the topic. That's just kind of where I am with it. Not surprised. I encourage it and I think that that's just the way it goes. So anyway, bye now.